from our customers to talk about, hey, if I'm a medium-sized enterprise or a smaller enterprise and I want to invest in HANA technology, can I do that, or is HANA only for the large enterprise? So given the fact that 80% of SAP's customers are small and medium enterprises, we wanted to make sure that we were helping to socialize this product that offers all the same advantages that the HANA enterprise for large enterprise corporations. We wanted to make sure that we were socializing these capabilities that also apply to small and medium enterprise, and that's the SAP HANA Edge Advanced version. So that's why we're here today. A few comments. Sometimes when we do these webinars, we get a little technical, and today that's really not our intention. We want to have really a business conversation, so that's really going to be our theme. And we're also going to try to relate how you can apply this technology, really this platform technology, to your business. So we'll talk a little bit about disruption, we'll talk a little bit about data integration and data quality, and then we're going to end today with a demo that shows really a real-life application custom built on the HANA platform. So next slide, please. Okay, here's our agenda. So what is digital disruption? We hear that term all the time. I'm going to talk a little bit about what that is, give a few examples of what it means to me. And then challenges for small and mid-sized enterprises. What you'll find is that small enterprise and mid-sized enterprises face some of the same challenges as large enterprises. However, there are some things that are unique. We'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to give you an overview of the SAP HANA Edge Advanced version, so that way we can provide you with, hey, what does this thing come with? What's included in HANA Edge? How big can it be? How does it scale? What other SAP technologies does it integrate with, or non-SAP technologies? Then we're going to get to our demo, and today that demo is really a shipment tracker application. So we're going to show you today how you can build a custom application on the HANA platform that combines transactional data, analytics data, specifically integrated with Google Maps, and how the HANA platform allows you to do that. We're going to talk through, hey, what's the Dickinson and Associates value proposition? How can we help you start your HANA journey? And then we're going to open it up for some Q&A. Next slide, please. I'm going to give you general overview on Dickinson and Associates first. Some folks on the call are aware of who we are, and some may not be. So very quickly, plain and simple, Dickinson and Associates is an SAP Gold Channel partner. What does that mean? That means we can sell SAP software, we can provide maintenance on that software, and we also are a system integrator. So from an SAP perspective, all we do is SAP, and that's all we've done for 19 years, and we're very proud of that. Our focus is really on three specific areas. Core, what we call core ERP, which is traditional SAP ERP applications, system integration, and development. The second is cloud technologies. In our case, really what we call S4 HANA Cloud, that's SAP's new cloud-based ERP. And finally, innovation and technology, which is anything database, data management, analytics, and application development. So Dickinson and Associates offers a broad brush of SAP services, and we're very, very close partner with SAP. We've got about 140 full-time SAP professionals, and our offices, we're headquartered in Chicago, so we're a Midwest-based firm, but we do have offices in New York, Scottsdale, Arizona, and Cincinnati, Ohio. We've done deployments in the United States, in Europe, in Asia, and again, we've done this for 19 years, and we are a leading system integrator of SAP HANA. We're very proud of that, and over the last couple of years, we've focused specifically on, I'll say, mastering the deployments of SAP HANA applications and analytic solutions. Next slide, please. Okay, going to plug two upcoming webinars just so people can mark their calendars if they're interested. So on February 14th, we're going to be doing a webinar on the HANA Cloud Platform that's actually recently been rebranded as the SAP Cloud Platform. So we get a lot of questions about, hey, what's SAP's cloud strategy for database and platform? And that's really where the HANA Cloud Platform or the SAP Cloud Platform comes into play. We will distinguish a little bit today the difference between our Edge solution and the SAP Cloud Platform, but that's a very interesting webinar and I encourage you to attend. The second one, which is on February 28th, is specific to Business Objects Cloud. We get a lot of questions from customers of, hey, we're very familiar with Business Objects. It's been around a long time. We've used it. But what's this Business Objects Cloud solution, and how is that different from traditional analytics solutions offered by SAP? So we're going to talk about these cloud-based technologies in our upcoming webinars, and I think that'll really help provide some guidance on the strategic direction of SAP. Next slide, please. Okay, what is digital transformation? And this is a topic that I love because I think it's easy to think about digital transformation when you just think about what you do in your everyday life. But what's very, very interesting are some of the facts, and they're outlined on this slide. But if you look at the typical longevity of a business from the 1960s, the average age of a company on the SAP 500 then was about 60 years. Brick and mortar type shops. Customers were fairly predictable. Innovation was slower to adopt, and I mean, innovation back then was what? I mean, maybe better advertising or the advent of information technologies into business, and that kind of remained the same, believe it or not, up until about the year 2000. Since then, nearly 52%, believe it or not, of the names in the Fortune 500, they're gone. And the reason they're gone is because those organizations did not adapt to changes in technology, changes in society, and basically were put out of business by disruptive forces, if you will. So by the year 2020, the average age of a company on the S&P 500, believe it or not, will be 12 years. That's a compression of about 5 times of today. So when you think about disruption, when I think about disruption, I think about what I notice in my daily life. So I'll give a few examples. Everybody uses Uber, I'm sure, on this call, or has at least heard of Uber. I was in New York City 2 weeks ago. I'm from New York originally, and I'm in New York City, and I get in a cab. And I start watching the little screen in the cab, which I thought was going to be, you know, advertisements for Radio City Music Hall and the typical things you might do in New York. And what was interesting is, instead of that, what was shown was a video that was made, a promotional video for New York City taxi cabs. And it was extremely clear to me that there was probably extensive money invested and time invested to build out this video to directly combat Uber. And it was people being interviewed saying, we feel safe in a yellow cab, and we have the yellow cab app. And I was laughing because I was like, who cares about the yellow cab app? Nobody. So Uber is so disruptive that not only are they beating the way we get traditional taxis, but they're forcing other companies to spend money to fend them off unsuccessfully. Think about if you had that advantage of an organization. Not only are you driving innovation and leading markets and outperforming your customers, you're making them spend money to catch up. Huge, huge competitive advantage. And that's just one example of an organization started out very small and grew tremendously. Another example that I have is look at Amazon and what Amazon's done to retail. I mean, I'm an Amazon Prime customer. I buy lots of stuff on Amazon. Folks that know me know that I'm a big boater. I buy parts for my boat on Amazon. Whoever thought that I would be able to do that? I haven't been in a parts store in 3 years, which is amazing and incredibly disruptive. Because if you go to the brick and mortar shops these days for boats, they sell things that they've basically gone down to maybe 50 products because everything else can be bought online. So when we think about disruption and we look at the way that the markets change, we look at the way that the demographics of companies have changed over the last 60 years, disruption is here. And if you're a small or medium enterprise, you need to embrace it and not react to it, but be innovative and be proactive in adopting digital transformation. So again, we hear that term all the time. I figured those two examples would really hit home and drive the point as to what we're trying to talk about today. So what does it mean for an SME? It's the risk if you don't adapt. But more importantly, if you're a glass is half full person like I am, what's the opportunity if you do? Next slide, please. So common challenges of small and medium enterprise. And frankly, some of these apply to large enterprise as well. But single view of the business. Think about it. I used to be part of a startup, a successful one. And when you start out and you're building a company, what do? Well, you got a lot of Excel lying around, right? And maybe you build a database as you grow. Maybe you invest in an accounting system like QuickBooks or something. And as you grow and you're more and more successful, the need for more and more information arises. And you wake up one day and you've got a whole bunch of independent, disparate systems lying around that don't talk to each other, don't provide value, but more importantly, do not give you a single view of your business. And they're not customer facing. So that's a huge challenge as companies grow. Data and information quality. I joke about dirty data and garbage in and garbage out. I don't care how good or pretty or sexy is maybe a better term an analytics solution is, graphs, pie charts, all the fun things, mobile applications, those are great. And we all like those types, receiving information in an agile way. But what about the quality of the data behind that? If that challenge is not solved, it doesn't matter what type of analytics application you have. The information will be wrong. And the old adage, garbage in, garbage out, will remain. Common in small and medium enterprises as they grow. And then scalabilities, and I hope a few people are chuckling that I put the Bobs in here from one of my favorite movies, Office Space. But the Bobs made a bigger point. So Initech, remember Initech was the company in Office Space? So Initech was this .com company that was growing. And aside from all the jokes and Jennifer Aniston and everybody being in that movie, they were trying to adapt. So they brought in the Bobs because they had grown, they became bloated. They had a guy that carried a fax from the fax machine to the engineers, or there was probably 3 middlemen in there. I'll mess up that part of the movie. But the point is they brought in the Bobs that helped them figure out how to adapt so that they could scale because their costs are exceeding their growth. So what we typically see in small and medium enterprises is we see the startup. Everybody's excited, sleeves are rolled up, company's growing, right? You go from startup to grow. Then you get to a point, and this is really industry agnostic, you get to a point where you've plateaued. Okay, we've built this business, but we're kind of at this level. Maybe it's a revenue level, maybe it's a headcount level, maybe it's a number of customers you can service, but you get to this level where you're ready for the next step. And if, in my opinion, if you're not growing, you're dying. So as a small and medium enterprise, what is the choice if you're at plateau? You can either continue to grow or you can decline. If you decline, you're probably going to fail, like a lot of the companies we mentioned earlier when we talked about the last 60 years and the average, size of organizations and so on and so forth. So our point is that in order to scale, in order to go from plateau to the next level, digital disruption is something that you have to be ready for and that you, again, don't want to be reactive to. You want to be proactive and embracing. And we'll talk a little bit now about how SAP applications and the SAP HANA platform can do that. Next slide, please. So what do you do? How do you win in this new digital market? You automate. So I mentioned data management earlier. I mentioned the challenge of bringing disparate systems together. So you automate that. You bring data together simply and in real time. Analyze. So now I've got the data. I've taken it from multiple sources. And remember, let's talk about what these sources could be. It could be Twitter. It could be Facebook. It could be any social media outlet. It could be a cloud-based application where we integrate via API. But bottom line is the HANA Edge Advanced Edition is a platform that is ready to bring data in from all of these sources. So now I may still have disparate systems, but I'm investing in a platform that can bring that data together in a single platform. And now what do I do after that? Now I can take those really nice applications for analytics. I can analyze that data, empowering our analysts by giving them self-service analytics, which is the new normal. Again, that's why you want to attend some of our later webinars. And then what do you do beyond that? Then you start predicting. So I automate bringing all that data together in a single platform. That's the hardest part. Then I analyze it. Now I have a single view of my business. Then I take it to the next level. I take all that information, and now I start predicting what my customers will do, predicting what my commodity costs might be, and building a better business. So if you accomplish those three things, you are responding proactively, not reactively, to this digital disruption. Next slide, please. So the opportunity for small and medium enterprise, and I love the term imagine if, because I feel that entrepreneurs think about imagine if. There's a lot on this slide, but if you think about the SAP HANA platform, again, today we're focusing on HANA Edge. If you think about the imagine if possibilities and you just look at this slide, everything from big data, data mart analysis, Internet of Things, how about bringing in sensor data or geospatial data or from that we'll talk about later in our demo from like a truck or an app, social sentiment, sentiment intelligence, predictive analytics, mobile capability, and what about applications, custom applications? Everybody on this call works with web-based apps, whether it's on your iPhone, your Android, whether it's your company's portal, whatever it may be, those are mobile. What if the platform that does your analytics and runs your transactions, what if you could also build those types of applications right on the same platform? That's what HANA and HANA Edge allows you to do. So you can do all of those things in this one platform. So I really like this slide because it ties it all together. So if you just start thinking about what can't I do today, or better yet, what if I could do certain things today? What would those things be, and how would it allow me to better serve my customers and better meet my organizational goals? Next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about now what is HANA Edge. So large enterprise capabilities for small and medium enterprise. What does that mean? That means that the majority of the capabilities available in what we refer to as SAP HANA Enterprise are available in the HANA Edge Edition. So we're taking all those capabilities, whether it be data integration, ETL, bringing data from multiple sources, whether it be predictive analytics and data modeling, whether it be application development, all of those things that large enterprise have the advantage of from SAP HANA, we're bringing that down to small and medium enterprise in an affordable, I'll say budget-conscious way. And I'll be very blunt about this. A lot of people on this call are probably thinking, yeah, okay, Rob, I know that HANA is $1 million investment no matter what I do. Well, we'll talk about this a little later on the next slide, but what if your investment in HANA could be below $100,000, well below $100,000, and provide significant capability? Think about from that perspective. It doesn't have to be $1 million investment. That's the point of HANA Edge. So it's right-sized. It's the right price in-memory solution for small and medium enterprise. It's integrated with other SAP applications. It comes with what folks may have heard of the SAP Predictive Analytics Library. And you can bring SAP and non-SAP data into the platform. And we like to sum it up with this: applications, analytics, and data integration in one single platform. One thing that frustrates me a little bit when we talk about HANA is HANA is much more than a database. It's almost an insult to refer to it as a database. HANA, whether it be the cloud capabilities or the on-premise capabilities, it's a platform. And thus, I keep driving this point home, but you're running, again, your analytics, your application development, and your applications all on one single platform. So if you're a small and medium enterprise, you have a choice. You could be disrupted by the digital economy. You could be the New York City taxi network that's struggling against Uber and spending tons of money to do it, or you can be Uber in your industry. SAP HANA, the platform, empowers this disruption, and frankly, it's a key driver for many of our customers to competitive advantage, large and small. Next slide. Okay, so what's included? So some folks on this call are probably like, okay, Rob, what are the devils in the details, right? Well, let's talk about this a little bit. So HANA Edge can size up to 120 gigabytes of in-memory HANA storage. So if you're familiar with HANA, HANA is typically sold by gigabytes of memory. And you may not know that we typically see a 5 to 7 times compression due to the in-memory storage in HANA. So if you look at 128 gigabytes of storage, multiply that by 5 to get an apples to apples on like a traditional database. And you also get 512 gigabytes of what we call dynamic data tiering. That's a warm data strategy. So basically, we know that customers may have a need for additional data storage, but does all of it have to be stored in memory? Does not. So we give you both predictive analytics library and our integration. So if you're working towards predictive modeling, that's included in the platform. Data integrator and SAP landscape transformation, and I wrote unlimited data sources. What does that mean? So if you think of HANA as the platform, you have to get data into the platform. We have ways, and the solution, the platform comes with it, to pull data from multiple independent sources. They don't have to be SAP sources. In fact, the majority of the sources we deal with are not SAP sources, but we have a way to do real-time replication. We can take data from sensors, we could take data from other databases, we could take data from social media, we could take data from cloud-based applications or on-premise applications, so we can bring it all together using the solutions that are provided in the HANA platform. Smart data integration, that's another component that allows you to access data outside of the HANA platform. And then I mentioned earlier application development. SAP has something called the Extended Service Engine and the UI5. So if you're an SAP customer and you see Fiori tiles and Fiori screens, that's UI5. HANA applications, and you'll see that today, are based on the same technology. So what I can relate it to if you're not an SAP person is HTML. It's a web page, looks like a web page, very easy to interact with, lots of flexibility in how you build the design, and very flexible, agile screens. And then finally, direct integration with Business Objects and Business Objects Cloud. So if I can get the data, I can control the data, I can manage the data, I can bring it together in this single platform, and I can access it with applications. I can also directly integrate with advanced analytics solutions such as Business Objects, traditional Business Objects, or Business Objects Cloud. Direct integration with those and other solutions, but since I'm an SAP person, I'm not going to mention them on the webinar. But the point is, you have this great platform that accomplishes really three things: grabbing the data, transforming it into information, and then reporting on it, and more importantly, building applications so you can access data, interact with the data, and also building advanced analytics capabilities like predictive. Next slide, please. Okay, this just goes back to my Imagine If theme, but I'm going to tie this to today's webinar because we're about to get into a demo, and I want to tee up the demo. So let's put our Imagine If hats on, everybody, and let's think about if I am a distribution company, and what if, or imagine if, I had real-time insight into my shipping operations. Where's a particular shipment right now? I want to be able to proactively manage that and handle customer sentiment or control customer sentiment. What if I could integrate fleet location data with SAP shipping data for complete supply chain visibility? What if I could do that? What if I could present all of this real time in a geospatial map, in this case, Google Maps? And what if I could build and deploy this application and other applications on a single platform for data acquisition, data processing, and analytics, meaning I have one platform. So we go all the way back to the beginning of what I say that small and medium enterprises struggle with, and to a certain extent larger enterprises, but it's that multiple independent systems. The company's grown up, and now we've got to get rid of all of those independent systems and move to a common platform. That's the value in SAP HANA, and that's the value in SAP HANA Edge for small and medium enterprise. Next slide, please. Okay. So I'm going to tee up the demo, and I'm going to hand it over to Tim Corby here in a moment. But here's what our demo is going to show today. It's called our shipment tracking application. This is built on SAP HANA Edge advanced version, but it's compatible with all versions of HANA. The question I get often is, well, what if I move to a different version of HANA? Well, you can lift and shift it because it's all the same technology. What's the use case? Sporting goods company, and we're specializing in supplying professional sporting facilities. I'll plug Tim Corba here. He played college football, so this is appropriate. And then customer insights, status application of shipments in transit, and then an overview of delayed shipments. That's really what we're getting at, right? Remember, single view of the customer? That's what we're trying to show here, is that we can build an application that allows us to do that. And then actionable results. What if I find a problem? Then what do I do? And we'll show you a little bit of what we can do if we find a problem based on real-time insight. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Tim Korba. Tim's our Director of Business Intelligence Services and an expert in SAP HANA. Tim?
Thanks, Rob, and thanks, Julie, as well. Again, my name is Tim Korba. What we'll go over now is I really wanted to show everyone the art of the possible. And as Rob just stated, we are working with a fictitious company. This is not an application that's in production anywhere, but really many of us may be able to apply these concepts directly with their company or indirectly and allow them to start driving that vision or that future strategy on what they can and may or may not be able to do with HANA Edge. So as Rob stated, we're a sporting goods company, and we mostly focus with ground shipments, and we deal with small and medium-sized shipping companies, just like everyone on the phone is, a small and medium-sized enterprise. And we also work with and focus on our truck drivers, such as Dylan. And many of these truck driving companies work with telematics, and in our case, we're working with a cell phone technology tracking capability. This allows us to track each of our truck drivers, such as Dylan, and find their actual location in real time at any point in time. So now we could be proactive in decision making versus reactive to customers calling us on possible delayed shipments. And at the end of the day, we want to display all of this information to end users leveraging a geospatial Google Maps API. And the key point here with this API is that we all are heavily invested in specific development we have done over time. It has matured. So there are pieces and components within our organization that even though we're introducing HANA Edge, we don't have the luxury to recreate all of those other pieces, all of those other APIs. So what we want to show you here is how we not only take HANA Edge, we are also integrating it with our other APIs such as Google Maps and MailChimp that many of us may already use within our organization. So with that stated, let me jump into our demo system. Right off the bat, we're going to see just a normal logon page that you would log into any internal website. So I'm just going to log us in here. And Rob highlighted a few components earlier in his conversation. Terms such as Fiori, HTML5. All of those concepts are built directly into the engines and the HANA platform that we have been speaking about. We have the look and feel of tiles. This is our landing page that we would have created for all of our clients. And each of these tiles on this landing page represents another application. It may be input-driven, where you're actually inputting data, and which is automatically updating in real time your underlying HANA database. It may be other reporting capabilities that you would need to have embedded directly into this landing page. Or it may be things such as the shipment tracker, which we will be showing you. But the concept here is this landing page is responsive, so we have a responsive grid. If everyone understands the responsive grid, it's automatically, no matter what type of device, as I stated earlier, it's device agnostic. So if I'm on an iPad, I have my iPhone, I'm able to leverage these applications that are created within the UI5 application framework easily. It also provides that consistent look and feel from application to application, which is very critical when creating web pages. Many times we have many developers creating multiple websites, and they all take a different avenue, a different approach to what it looks. UI5 allows us to simplify that and provide that organization. Each of these tiles could also be user-specific. So one user may see all of these tiles, while others may see one or two. So really, the art of the possible here is really what you need it to be. So with the shipment tracker, I will click on the shipment tracker, And now I really want to understand where Dylan, our truck driver, is, because what we're seeing here initially on the top hand of the screen is our transactional information. As I stated, I want to display what information is currently in our database, our HANA database, but also what are our delayed shipments, because I want to be proactive with my decision making and I want to see where we currently stand. If I click on any of the above shipments, it will automatically update our Google Map API below and show us in real time where our truck drivers are. And since I know Dylan was making a shipment to MetLife Stadium, specifically for the New York Jets, I could see that he has a delayed shipment and he's currently in Virginia. At this point, again, being proactive versus reactive to a customer calling us, we can now make a call out to Dylan and find out exactly where he is within the shipment process. At that point in time, I'm using my MailChimp API, and I'm going to send an automated email to that customer so they're now informed on why there's a delay with their overall shipments. And that email can be customized per client, per material type, whatever it may be. We really have, we can make that as customized as possible. We created a generic email message that gave an additional 10% off on their next shipment. So at this point in time, it's a very simplified application that's providing us how we can consume data from the SAP HANA Edge database, how we can take a current API that we have matured over time within our organization, such as Google Maps, and integrate it directly into this application, as well as other APIs such as MailChimp, and leverage those capabilities and technologies without having to recreate them. So I'm just going to click on the home button. It will bring us back to our landing page where we have the option to choose a different application, or at that point we can log off and move on to the rest of our daily activities. So that's a brief overview of our shipment tracker and how we can leverage SAP HANA Edge technologies. With that said, let me get back into the presentation. I will hand it back over to Rob Jerome, and thank you.
Great. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. I hope when everybody looked at that demo, very simple example of something that can be built in an agile manner on the HANA platform. So I get a lot of questions, well, how long does it take to build something like that? Well, what if you could build that app in a matter of weeks, not months or years, and deploy it? So, we're in a different world now where application development is growing in demand, but being able to deploy applications very, very quickly is really the new normal. Quick story, I was at a SAP conference last week, and a very good friend of mine showed me on his app how he built an app for this meeting that we were at, and he was laughing because he built it in probably, an hour or so. But that was a very, very real example of digital disruption and the need to move quickly. So from summary and key takeaways perspective, digital disruption is the new normal. Things are moving fast these days, and we don't want to be overly reactive, but we want to be proactive, again, in making sure that our business strategy, whether we're a large organization or small and medium enterprise, that our business strategy for growth involves something that involves digital, and that we're prepared to basically respond proactively to our competition, but also changes in the market. Otherwise, again, I said this earlier, if you're not growing, you're dying. So digital disruption is the new normal. And innovation and disruption can be competitive advantages. They don't have to be things we react to. And SAP HANA Edge is a platform for innovation. Remember, it's the same technology that larger organizations, large enterprise customers can take advantage of. It's just packaged for smaller organizations. Applications and analytics for everyone, that's kind of our theme here. And then data integration and data management. Just want to drive home the theme of this is a one-stop shop. This is a platform solution. I can get the data. I can store the data. I can model the data. I can analyze the data. I can interact with the data. And then the opportunity ahead, the art of the possible, imagine if. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can support you in your HANA journey and really driving Imagine If through workshop sessions. So next slide, please. So what's next? If there's an interest, if you're scratching your head saying, okay, some of this makes sense and I'd like to explore it more, we have standard demo content available online at Dickinson Associates YouTube site. But we also offer to people that are interested a one-day discovery session. Come on site. If you're interested in starting your HANA journey, we will come on site. We will talk you through how customers in your industry are starting their HANA journey, or we'll give you examples of how some of our customers who maybe are more mature, how they've successfully started their HANA journey and then grown it from there. And we'll absolutely assist in use case evaluation. In certain cases where customers have decided that this is a solution, a platform that they really want to consider investing in, we've helped you build your use case. We've developed a budget. We're more than happy to do a custom application demonstration, maybe drive home the use case that you need to sell to internal management. So we are here to help. Excuse me. Again, we are leaders in the SAP HANA space, and if there is an interest, we'll provide our contact information at the end of the webinar so that you can reach out. Next slide, please. Okay. That brings us to the end of our formal presentation for today. We went a little faster than we usually do, but one lesson learned from last year is we always ended 5 minutes early and didn't leave a lot of time for discussion points. So I'll hand it over to Julie for any questions that may have come in, and we'll answer the questions as best we can.
Okay, sure. We do have a few questions. Let me start with this one. If we invest in HANA Edge and we outgrow it, is there a path to HANA Enterprise?
Okay, so the short answer is yes. So what SAP has done, and if you're a Business Objects customer, you may have lived through this. If you started with Business Objects Edge, you may have converted to the larger Business Objects suite in the past. So what SAP has done is they've said, okay, we want our customers to invest in this platform, and HANA Edge may be the right starting point for the smaller, medium enterprise. But we want those companies to be successful. We want them to grow into large enterprise. So what happens in that case? Well, there is a conversion path where you can go from HANA Edge to HANA Enterprise for broader investment. So basically, if you look at this platform solution, what SAP's intention is to develop a platform technology for small and medium enterprise that will scale with the company. We want to grow up with you. So at the end of the day, yes, there's a path, but remember, it's the same technology. So if I build applications on HANA Edge, I want to take and lift and shift those to a HANA Enterprise instance, I can do that. Same technology. I could even do that to a HANA Cloud platform. So as your HANA path grows and your roadmap grows, and maybe grows to include, again, other HANA technologies like the HANA Cloud platform, now SAP Cloud Platform, the solution will grow with you. So the short answer is yes, and there's multiple ways to do it.
Okay, great. Okay, the next question. What is the difference between HANA Edge and HANA Cloud Platform?
Okay, that's a great question. So, and I'll try to provide some clarity. So HANA Edge is really intended to be a on-premise solution, but I want to be careful in saying that. So when you buy a HANA Edge license, you now own that license. Now, I can host that in a hardware environment that my company owns, or I could host it on cloud, like AWS, like the SAP HANA Enterprise Cloud, like at Microsoft Azure. So you're buying the license, just like you would traditional software, and then you can host it in various different ways. HANA Cloud Platform is different in it's 100% subscription-based. That's a little different from traditional licensing. So you're actually buying a subscription, cloud-hosted by SAP environment. So they're very similar from a technology perspective. What it comes down to is, am I buying a license and hosting either on cloud or on-premise, i.e. HANA Edge, or do I want to go with a full cloud subscription-based model, and that would be HANA Cloud Platform. I will say that we do have some customers that combine a traditional HANA environment with the HANA Cloud Platform as well. You could do the same, excuse me, you could do the same thing with HANA Edge, because there may be use cases where it makes sense to have both. And that really goes back to me talking about engaging in a roadmap discussion and a use case discussion. But to sum it up, HANA Edge on-premise or hosted on either by a third-party hosting company or on cloud. HANA Cloud Platform, now the SAP Cloud Platform, that is full subscription-based, I'll say pure public and private cloud is available technology.
All right, we have a couple more that we have time for. Let's see. Most of my sources of data don't come from SAP. Is HANA Edge compatible with non-SAP sources?
I'm going to turn that one over to Tim, because Tim's the more technical guy. So Tim?
No problem. Well, the answer is yes. We work with most of our customers now actually have mostly non-SAP data. So it's always been a space that I believe has been a gap for SAP in the past. You had your SAP BW system, and though it supported non-SAP, data, it wasn't as flexible as SAP HANA Edge. We talked a little bit about the different data provisioning tools that exist, such as data services and SLT. Each of those data provisioning tools have their own home, but both support both SAP and non-SAP systems, so sources of data. So just to briefly talk a little bit more clarity on what each of them really represents. SLT stands for, it's an acronym for the SAP Landscape Transformation Tool or Replication Server. So it is a trigger-based environment where you're replicating the raw data from your SAP and non-SAP and placing it into the SAP HANA database. So SLT supports many different non-SAP sources of data. Now you have to look in the product availability matrix to determine which databases they support and which databases they do not. There are also other considerations to be made when you're talking a replication server, such as data types, the data type translation from one environment to SAP HANA, as well as others. And again, we could come and discuss that in further if you'd like as well. Now, data services is a full suite from a data provisioning where it can pull your data, extract your data, and transform it at a higher level and more complexities than an SLT replication server ever will. So there are definitely considerations to be made when choosing which tool that you would like to leverage. Now, there's also other tools such as Rob talked about Smart Data Access. That is more of a remote type of access, but leveraging the SAP HANA functionality. So you still want to leverage the in-memory capabilities when accessing that data. So that technology can be used via native Smart Data Access, as well as leveraging adapters that can be installed within the HANA database. And in reality, it's virtual tables within HANA that's accessing real tables in your source systems. And then you have dynamic data tiering as well, which is getting into the overall, you're really filling out that strategy when it comes to hot and cold data. So I know that was a little bit of a long-winded answer, but it really gives you the depth and breadth of how you can take SAP and non-SAP data and integrate it into this one HANA platform and leverage it into all of those use cases that we have identified.
Okay. All right, the next question. Does HANA Edge eliminate the need for a separate data warehouse?
Okay, well, I guess I'll take that one as well, RJ. And it is a loaded question, I would say, because it really depends on what your needs are. So to quickly answer the question, it 100% can replace and become your database, your single version of the truth. And I think it lends a little bit into the prior questions with SLT and data services and pulling all of this data from these other disparate solutions that you may have. But it's a case-by-case basis. You would really need to understand what we're trying to accomplish. Is this an analytics solution, or is this a database that's supporting transactional transactions? And each of those decisions really results in an answer to that question. So it can, and in many cases it will, but we really need to understand as a group what we're trying to accomplish, and then we could provide you the best recommendation on if that will be your only database or if it will be for specific solutions.
Okay. Now, the next question. How small and medium-sized businesses keep budget under control with the fact that HANA Edge need reporting and ETL tools license?
Okay, that's a pretty good question. So how do we keep costs under control? Well, first I'll address the ETL piece. So HANA Edge is packaged with ETL, meaning it comes with, and Tim just talked about this a bit, it comes with Data Integrator, which is SAP's platform for ETL, and it comes with SLT, which is a real-time replication component. So it's packaged with those, so you do not need to invest in a separate ETL. From an analytics perspective, you can build analytical apps directly on the HANA platform. However, if you'd like to have I'll say an enterprise platform for analytics like SAP Business Objects, that is an additional investment. But keep in mind that SAP also has an Edge version of those additions of that software that directly integrate with HANA Edge. The intention of this offering is to come up with a platform, is to provide a platform that is budget conscious. And so I don't think that's a challenge at all. Everything today depends on the value that you're going to get out of software. So if you're going to invest in this, you obviously are going to want to see the value. But that's where we can help build a business case for you to show you that these investments are going to pay off. And from a return on an investment and an IRR perspective, we can go through that with you.
Okay. And we're going to take one more question. That is, how is HANA different from an in-memory DB or a DB running on a solid-state drive?
Okay. Well, I'm not going to get into the solid-state discussion from a hardware perspective, but I'll answer it this way, because we tried to articulate this earlier in the webinar, but here's the point. HANA's in-memory database capability is the core of the HANA platform, but the conversation we're having today is well beyond solid-state drives and well beyond in-memory and columnar storage. We're talking about a platform. So I can look at a solid-state drive, that's hardware. Does it give me a platform to build applications on? No, it doesn't. Does it give me a platform to integrate data and model data with? It doesn't. So it's a separate conversation. I will say that from an in-memory perspective, the HANA technology is industry leading, and we can look at Gartner and we can look at other studies, but the SAP technology, if you really look at it from a technology perspective, is world-class and is leading. But our conversation today is well beyond that. So it's not so much a conversation of the in-memory technology versus solid state versus maybe some other columnar store database types. It's really about a platform and what that platform provides you, in addition to the fact that it's based on columnar storage and an in-memory database.
Yeah, and just to add a little bit to that, the SAP HANA platform is continuing to evolve, but it is very smart with how the in-memory is leveraged. And not only is it just in-memory, but there's many different engines that make up this platform that are specifically focused on what you're trying to do in that specific action. If it's a calculation, if it's some type of prediction. There are specific libraries and engines that are out there that are really focused on this, that that goes way beyond, like Rob said, the solid state conversation. It's not just if something is in memory or not. It definitely takes a step out of that area and expands it dramatically that it is the leading solution.
Great, thanks, Tim. Julia, I think that, are there any more questions?
No, they're not. That's all the questions
Okay.
I have for today. Yes.
I think I think we're about out of time. I would say we've met our New Year's resolution. It's finishing just before, not just after our time. So we're 5 minutes before the top of the hour. I hope that everybody enjoyed today's webinar. If you'd like to watch it again or pass it along to colleagues, it will be available on the Dickinson and Associates YouTube site. Just go out to YouTube and look for Dickinson and Associates. And I appreciate everybody's time today.
Thanks, everybody, for joining, and have a great rest of your day.